how do we start thinking about and managing our thoughts?
Oh. Well, the very first step is to become aware of the thoughts. Most people wouldn't even imagine that in one moment they can change the course of their lives or their work or their organizations just by changing the way that they think. And most of us haven't even thought about our thoughts.
Right. Well, and even you mentioned even in the book and that somebody may have even on average over 60,000 thoughts a day, which that number seems huge.
It is huge. And for me, when I started to watch my thoughts, I noticed that it wasn't like I was having 60,000 new and unique thoughts every moment. I was having 20,000 of this one, 20,000 of that, 4,000 of this, and 4,000 of that. And for me, it was self-doubt, criticism, imagining upcoming scenarios with difficult people. That's what I was filling my thoughts with. And when I know that everything that we say, do, and create first begins in a thought, and that's what my head was filled with, I thought it was amazing that I ever got anything done, much less what was significant and really important to me.
Right. Because you might be over here thinking over there. A lot of times I get accused of that. I'm listening to somebody, they're talking, but I'm thinking over here, I'm thinking about this. And, because I think we're always multitasking. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we don't even recognize or aware of our thoughts, because we're trying to do so many things at one time. And you said what's key is being aware of our thoughts. How do you do that? Because by the time I'm trying to be aware of one, I feel like I'm already on to the next.
Well, one thing is that once we decide to start watching our thoughts, and that's the key. I mean, a thought is just a thought. It's not real. It's not really reality. It's just whatever our brain is presenting to us. It's saying, hey, this is what you thought, this is what you felt the last time something kind of like this that I put into this compartment said.
Right.
And so it's up to us. We can actually choose to use that thought or not. Right. So what we're trying to do is to start looking at our thoughts instead of from our thoughts.
Okay.
So once we make the decision to start watching our thoughts, the fringe benefit of it is that they actually slow down.
Really?
So they do slow down, and so you can see them, and you can see what they are, and then many of those 60,000 thoughts actually go away. Okay. So
plus, I'm sure a lot of them are the same repeat ones.
Well,
that we have throughout the day, maybe.
Well, oftentimes when I'm working with individuals or with organizations, and we're talking about start watching the thoughts, and they always come in groups. There's 4 or 5 thoughts together. And to watch what it was that first thought, and the second thought, and the third thought. And then what is the decision that I am about to make because I'm relying on that thought? Most of us haven't thought about it, and so we haven't even noticed those 4 or 5 thoughts, much less noticed that we're making a decision based on those thoughts as if they're reality.
Well, and also, as you're saying that, I'm trying to think, okay, if I was somebody watching the show, how do I recognize my thoughts? I'm thinking, well, if I stop at a red light, what if I say, what was I just thinking about? And let's say I was thinking about, gee, I was hungry. Then I think, well, what am I going to have for dinner? And then I think, well, I don't know what I have for dinner. I don't have anything in the refrigerator. Well, maybe should I stop it? Should I go through the drive? No, maybe should I buy some? Should I stop? Well, then there's long lines. So right away there's about 1,000 of them. So is that kind of how you try to become aware? I mean, because I'm thinking after the show, I'm going to try and be more aware of my thoughts.
Well, sometimes it's hard to become aware if we're first starting. Right. And so what I encourage people to do is to actually notice what they're feeling. Okay. First. I mean, the key is not so much, we want to know whether a thought is working for us or is working against us. And so if we notice how we're thinking or how we're feeling, that might be the way to start becoming able to actually watch our thoughts. Okay. So I mentioned in the book that feelings are actually key indicators. And oftentimes we're told, well, feelings have no place in the business environment, or if we're making an important decision. And it's really just not true. What we're really saying is that there's no place for excessive feelings or feelings that are causing us to not see reality. Okay. So if we do watch our feelings and how we feel, if we don't feel good, if we don't feel powerful, if we don't feel at peace or inspired as we're thinking a thought, that thought is not working for us. So for many folks, it's actually easier to start noticing, how am I feeling right now? Is my head tense? Is my neck tense? How's my gut feel? Or how do I feel in here? And then if they notice that they're not feeling well, then they can notice the thought they're having at that moment. And then that's a key indicator that that thought at that moment is not working for them, and then they can start thinking about what they would choose to think instead.
Okay.